Welcome to Deuteronomy chapter 12. As the Israelites prepare to finally cross the Jordan River, this chapter marks a massive operational shift. It provides a brilliant study on centralizing focus, transitioning out of chaotic startup flexibility, and recognizing the lethal trap of toxic curiosity. God commands them to completely destroy all the pagan altars located on the high mountains and under every green tree, completely erasing the names of the old gods. Erasing the legacy infrastructure is absolutely mandatory before establishing your own. You cannot simply build a new, pure culture on top of the fragmented, toxic foundations left behind by a corrupt previous regime. Instead of worshiping wherever they want, they must seek God only at one designated place of worship, the single hub chosen among all the tribes. To build a truly unified culture, you must establish a designated hub. A central point where the entire team regularly gathers to bring their offerings ensures everyone stays perfectly aligned on the core mission. Moses states their entire pattern of worship is about to change. Right now, in the wilderness, they are doing as they please, but soon that flexibility must end. As an organization matures into a secure, established phase, it must transition from chaotic, do-as-you-please startup flexibility to strict, centralized operational protocols. However, a practical distinction is made. While sacred offerings must go to the central hub, everyday meat can be freely butchered and eaten in any hometown. A sustainable system clearly separates centralized, sacred equity from local, common resources. It gives local branches the freedom to consume what they need to thrive without micromanaging every single meal. But there is a strict, non-negotiable limit on this local consumption. They must never consume the blood, because the blood is the life. Even in periods of massive local success and consumption, you must never consume the lifeblood of the organization. The foundational capital and core ethical boundaries that sustain the entire system must remain completely untouched. When enjoying local success, they are specifically commanded never to neglect the Levites living in their towns. Who looks after the culture when headquarters is far away? You must actively resource and invite your local cultural guardians into your successes to prevent regional branches from drifting away from the core mission. Moses warns them not to fall into the trap of inquiring about how the destroyed nations worshipped, strictly forbidding them from imitating those detestable acts. Casually investigating a highly successful competitor's toxic methods often leads to accidental adoption. Unbounded curiosity about a corrupt system is a deadly operational trap that will rot your organization from the inside out. The chapter closes with an immutable standard. Be careful to obey the commands, and do not add anything to them or subtract anything from them. Once a master system is established, it must be fiercely protected. Adding your own personal flair or subtracting difficult, tedious requirements only corrupts the purity and effectiveness of the original design. Deuteronomy 12 demands that we centralize our focus and actively destroy our old altars. This leaves us with two important questions to chew on today. First, has your team outgrown its do-as-you-please phase and now desperately needs centralized protocols? And second, are you casually investigating the toxic practices of your competitors, risking accidental infection? Take a moment, breathe, and let them sink in.